Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome here to the Launchpad and our live launch coverage of the second launch attempt of Blue Origin's New Glenn. As you can see on the right side of your screen, we are green across the board. Even for solar activity, it's still being monitored, but it is looking way better for a launch opportunity here today. NASA having officially given the go for launch a few hours ago. As we come down to L-minus 53 minutes and counting, first off, welcome here to the Launchpad. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow because we believe that space is better together, and we're glad to have you joining us live here today. We went live a little bit early. We got Blue Origin's clean feed up. Hopefully we get a pad shot here that they're supposed to give out to media sooner than later, but we wanted to go live, give you a weather update, answer your guys' comments and questions. You can let us know those in the chat by tagging us at the Launchpad, and while you do so, take a moment, let us know where you're watching from, engage that like button, share out the stream, invite people to join us as we count down 52 minutes, 25 seconds, and counting till the targeted liftoff of Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket carrying NASA's Escapade payload, 2 satellites built by Rocket Lab, beginning their multi-year journey to Mars. A huge mission for New Glenn following their first ever test flight that happened early this year. It was incredible to be there down in Florida to watch that first flight of New Glenn. I'm broadcasting from our TLP Canada studio in HQ. We're glad to have you here. We have our rocket chasers, Gavin and Cameron, stationed across the Space Coast, ready to capture today's flight as well. And we're just glad to have all of you joining us here today. Lots of people tuning in from all over the world. We got Chaz in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We got Marcin, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, in Warsaw, Poland. We got Philippe in UAE. Marie is in Devon, England. Welcome, great to have you here. We got Perem in Denmark. We got Uncle Yukon in Washington State. Great to see you, Uncle Yukon. We got Carlos in northern Spain. Daniel's from Portland, Oregon. Ginger, Lakewood, Washington. Good to see you as always as well. Lots of people tuning in all over the world. Take a moment, engage that like button, share out the stream, and as I said, send in your guys' comments and questions. I'll be answering those on commentary while we continue through today's broadcast. I'm going to be jumping on and off commentary here as we count down, and then of course once Blue Origin begins, we will patch in Blue Origin Mission Control and their commentary and listen in for them for an update. Because they covered so much the first launch attempt, they've delayed their live coverage, which should have started in 5 minutes, down to the 20-minute mark instead of the 45-minute mark. So we're not going to get as many official updates from Blue Origin for this flight, unfortunately. We see them do the same thing with New Shepard launches. If they go for one attempt, then they dial back their production for a second attempt, unfortunately. But that doesn't mean we're not here, we're not ready, and we're excited to be covering it for you. We do have at the pinned in the chat, we got 2 things. We got a pinned comment. We are excited to be growing our team. So if you're interested in becoming a TLP moderator, maybe you want to be in the background, helping in the back channels as a producer or a production assistant, or you want to be a launch commentator like myself or Magnus, take a moment, fill out one of those applications. There's a bunch of opportunities available, including rocket chasers, space history writers, different things. We're resuming our interviews after I took a break for my surgery next week, so definitely take a moment, fill out that application, get yourself to the top of the list, and I will say we take our application seriously, so the more effort you put into your application, the more effort it looks like you're gonna want to be part of the team. So make a good impression on your application, and we're excited to connect with some of you and welcome some of you onto the TLP crew as we get ready for Artemis 2 as early as February next year. That's right, we are less than 4 months possibly from sending people back to lunar orbit, which is so incredible because years ago when we started TLP, it felt so long in the future, and here we are. We got a second thing pinned. That is a poll. Which rockets do you think we're going to see launch today? We got New Glenn and Atlas V on the schedule. Do you think we'll see both? Just New Glenn, just Atlas, or none of the above? Right now, both is winning, 59%. 20% thinking New Glenn will, Atlas won't, and then it goes down from there. Make sure you take a moment, fill in that poll. We'll do an update there as we continue. Mike Ray says, hope you have a successful surgery and speedy recovery. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, it went really well. I know I need to post more updates on my personal YouTube that I've been meaning to do that. I've been getting them ready. I've got like old updates to post, so stay tuned. They're coming. Surgery went really well. I'm back eating some foods. and we're on that road to recovery, but it's worked really well, and it's been well worth it as well. So super excited about that. Daniel says, my mother's side of family is from Three Rivers, Canada. That's awesome. Always great to see another Canadian in the chat. We got Spot Max in Washington State. We got Macam, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, from Ovidio, Spain. I probably said that wrong. I definitely said that wrong. Colby's watching from Texas. We got Daniel in Portland, Oregon. Great to see you jumping in. Thanks for being here. Belle is in Houston, Texas. Emily is in Florida. As I said, if you guys have questions, you send those in the chat by tagging me at the Launchpad, and I'll work on answering those live. Ice Aid says he's got his drink and peanuts. Now we'll watch the launch on the TV. That is awesome. If you guys are having a launch party by yourself or with some family, you can take photos of what your watch party looks like. Send them over to us at tlpn_official on X or over in the TLP Discord, just in the space chat, and we might be able to pull some of those up and give some shout outs here from you guys having your watch parties. So try to send those photos in. We're working on a way to make that easier in the future. You're going to see some exciting changes coming up in how we do our production over the next couple of weeks as we swing into our holiday Christmas mode this weekend. So we're super excited to show you what we've been working on for some little fun things on the screen, and then January 1st, when we launch into the new year, you'll see some more exciting production stuff coming as well. So make sure you stay tuned for all of that. Mike Ray, can you tell us about any AI technology being used for this spaceflight? No, because we don't know if there is any on it from what I know. Today's mission is called Escapade. It stands for the Escape and Plasma Acceleration and Dynamics Explorer mission. It's a dual spacecraft mission to study ion and sputtered escape from Mars. These are for NASA, built by Rocket Lab. They weigh 1,070 kilograms. On board today's mission as a secondary mission is also the Viasat InRange. This is to demonstrate Viasat's Launch Telemetry Relay Service that works in part of NASA's Communications Services Project, or CSP. Viasat's user terminal and InRange solution will be integrated onto and remain attached to New Glen's launch vehicle to showcase its launch communications capability. So that's a secondary mission. Now keep in mind, though we are 97-98% go for launch, we do have a launch window today that opens at 2:57 p.m. Eastern Time. It closes at 4:25 p.m. Eastern. So if for any reason we do have to have a hold along the way, that's okay. That doesn't mean the end of the world. We can continue through the countdown and hopefully recycle. But at this time, everything's looking really good for a launch opportunity here today. We'll pull up the NASA weather a little bit bigger for you on the right side of your screen. This is coming in from NASA Kennedy Space Center, showing a looping few slides that their weather office used there for their forecasts and predictions. And on the left, a live feed coming into us for media from Blue Origin. Hopefully we'll get a pad shot here sooner or later. We were hoping that's what it would be this whole time, but no, they gave us the clock instead. A quick little update, not getting into the politics of it, but the U.S. government shutdown is complete. But that does not mean that the FAA launch curfew has been lifted. We are still waiting for an update from the FAA on the status of when that'll be lifted. We have heard rumblings more in the aerospace sector that things, just because the government's open doesn't mean things are going to go back to perfect. You know, a lot of people have worked without pay, and a lot of people are still exhausted. So some people are coming back to work, but that means a lot of the people that have been working without pay and overtime are probably going to need time off. So this is still going to be weeks likely of impact, but hopefully we'll hear something late this week through the weekend on when that launch curfew will be listed. But at this time, we have not heard anything on the status of that. So a quick little update there. Important to make sure that we mention that. Ice Age, how is a solar flare doing? I checked on Space Weather Prediction Center from NOAA. It says it can be a G3 strong. Solar weather's looking good from people we've talked to at Blue and our own looking at data. And NASA. NASA came out publicly. Finally, with the shutdown over, NASA has opened, which means NASA media is back. So NASA made their first really statement about this mission early this morning that NASA teams did poll go for the solar conditions. So the vehicle is built up to withstand solar conditions. The biggest reason they said no yesterday is this storm would have hit when they would have been in the middle of their activation sequence of deploying solar arrays, first communications, any software updates, thruster testing, all of that. And you don't want to be in the middle of testing something when you lose communication because of a solar flare and the impact of a solar flare. And because of that, that's why they delayed, because some of these things, if it doesn't work the first time, there isn't a second chance for it. Belle, are you in Canada? Yes, I am in Edmonton, Alberta. That's where our TOP HQ and studio are. Just answered Chaz's question about the curfew. Perfect timing. And yes, the solar flare is what caused the incredible, incredible Aurora Borealis. I'm going to take a very, very short commentary break, get a little bit of a drink here. Send in your questions in the chat by tagging me at the Launchpad. I'll work on answering those live when I get back, and stay with us. We're 42 minutes and counting till launch of New Glenn, launching NASA's Escapade built by Rocket Lab to Mars. Stay with us. And if you're just joining us, welcome here to the Launchpad. We are counting down now just under 30 minutes and counting till liftoff of New Glenn from Slick 36 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. As we continue through the countdown, we're looking to answer your guys' comments and questions. You can send those in the chat by tagging me at the Launchpad. I'll work on answering those. Took a little commentary break there, got some questions to catch up on, but keep sending them in. We'll work on answering those. Mike Gray asks, is this just one of the precursors for a future human-crewed spaceflight to Mars? Sort of. Yes and no, indirectly. The Blue Origin launch in itself does not directly impact us going to Mars in the current strategy of using Starship with SpaceX. But ultimately, New Glenn has the capability of launching satellites, like hopefully today, to Mars that will help us learn more about Mars and could impact how we live there. This is to study basically Mars's magnetosphere and understanding how it gets impacted by solar radiation and things like that. So that is really critical to us going to Mars and living there. So directly, indirectly, yes, but no. Sorry, I know that's a confusing answer. Jeremy Fry, what is the targeted liftoff time? Blue Origin is currently targeting 2:57 p.m. Eastern Time, the opening of today's window for launch. Thanks for sending those in. Ice Aid says, do you think today's launch will finally put Blue Origin on par with SpaceX in orbital capability? That's an interesting question because we have to, again, it's almost another yes and no. If they launch today, would they have launched something successfully even past Mars, so past orbit? Yes. Now, Escapade is doing a really odd mission where it's actually going to stay near Earth for 12 months before it does a lowering burn to then do a burn to shoot out to Mars. So it's a really interesting timeline that they're going to be running for this mission. But ultimately, yes, Blue Origin would then be, launching similarly to what SpaceX could. But keep in mind, this is only the second flight. SpaceX has launched hundreds. So would it mean Blue Origin could do a mission? Yes, I think we all kind of expected with how much time they took that they would be able to. So kind of a yes and no answer again there. Thanks, Ice8, for sending that in. Appreciate it. Wood says, what is the nature of the science to be collected by the two Mars orbiters? So the two Mars orbiters, Blue and Gold, they're both the Escapade satellite mission, but there's one that's called Blue and one that's called Gold. The spacecraft, they're identical, and they're going to have 3 scientific experiments on board each of them: the EMAG, the EESA, and the ELP. The EMAG is a magnetometer measuring DC magnetic fields up to 1000 NT, and it's mounted at the end and part way up the boom of each satellite. The EESA is an electrostatic analyzer that measures superthermal ions from 2 eV to 20 keV and suprathermal electrons from 3 eV to 10 keV. It's mounted on the upper deck of the spacecraft. ELP is a Langmuir probe measuring plasma density from 20 to 30,000 particles per cubic centimeter and solar EUV flux from 5 to 20 milliwatts per square meter, and is mounted on the boom and on the spacecraft's bust. So those are the 3 experiments that each satellite will be running in sync together. So great question. Thanks for sending that in. Gregory Lewis, thank you so much for that very generous super chat. Gregory saying, thanks again for the great coverage. I appreciate that. That $20 super chat really does help us make this possible. We've been investing a lot into upgrading our production to be ready for the new year, ready for Artemis, trying out a lot of new things. And we're going to be putting some polls out in the near future on how you guys want us to do our productions. Do you want us going live super early if we only have weather radar and not a clean pad shot? Things like that. So if you're a member, stay tuned. You'll get some extra member ones, but we'll be doing some public polling as well. We want to hear from you while we work to expand our coverage. But Gregory, that goes directly back into making all of this possible, though. So thank you very, very much. Ice Age, could today's solar activity give Escapade extra science opportunities on its way to Mars? So it won't be leaving Mars, leaving for Mars, for 12 months. It's a really interesting timeline that they're running here. Let me pull it up so I can say this correctly on when things will happen. So they're going to be launching now, and it'll go into a 1 year kidney bean shaped Earth proximity phase before it will return back to a low altitude perigee for a trans-Martian injection. That trans-Martian injection is set to occur on November 7th, 2026 for the Blue spacecraft and November 9th, 2026 for the Gold spacecraft. Both vehicles will then enter their interplanetary cruise. They will do a Mars orbit insertion. The Gold spacecraft will actually arrive before the Blue, even though it did its burn after the Blue. Gold will arrive on September 7th, 2027. Blue will arrive on September 9th, 2027. They will do orbit reduction burns to get into their initial placement on September 27th to November 12th, 2027. That's when they'll do planetary phasing. There is a solar conjunction where we will not have communications with them from March 5th to April 6th, 2028. And that's when they'll transition to their science campaign. March 15th to June 14th, 2028. That is when they will activate their science systems and begin studying. They will start the first science campaign, both of them, on June 15th, 2028. On December 15th of 2028, they will do an orbit adjustment, putting them into a new position in orbit around Mars, and they will begin their second science campaign. The primary mission, the primary science campaign, A and B, will conclude on May 15th, 2029, and their schedule puts about 3 months where they will close out the mission. Now, this is a NASA mission. We've seen them do extended missions before. Spirit and Opportunity lasted so many years after. Curiosity, things like that. Even Ingenuity was supposed to have maybe 5 flights. It had dozens. So Science A and B are primary. If those are complete, then they'll consider secondary missions, which I'm sure they already have a schedule for but haven't put out. Yeah, that is where that will happen. An interesting note, Earth and Mars will be greater than 1 AU apart from each other for most of the first half of 2029 when they're doing campaign B. The furthest apart that they'll be is 1.67 AU. And that'll be January 19th, 2029. Now, it of course goes in waves as we navigate, but that is why in that window you wouldn't have actually a launch window type of thing in there. So it's a really interesting mission. But yeah, these are going to stay in a Earth proximity phase orbit until November 2026. So it's really interesting that they're launching today, or trying to launch today, but are going to hang out for about a year. Interesting to see. Norman, thanks so much for your super chat here. I appreciate your donation. I'm not going to dive into everything that you've said there. Artemis came decades ago. This is not a new idea with the new administration. So it doesn't really link to that. It's been pushed forward more by one administration than the other. But ultimately, Artemis is something that's been getting planned for... I mean, really, if you scale it back to what SLS has been grown out of, this has been getting talked about since the 90s. So, yeah. Ultimately, space is better together. We need to do more in space. Shuttle was incredible. We learned a lot. The International Space Station was incredible. We learned a lot. But we got stuck in low Earth orbit for the last 40 years. We should have been back to the moon by now. We should have been to Mars by now. And if there was government pressure to do so and scientific interest, which I think there always has been, but if there was government funding for it, we'd already have a base on Mars. It might have been more like Apollo, where we went, stayed for a few days and came back, but we would have done it already. And that comes down to governments needing to support the science and the development of infrastructure. Ice Age, could New Glenn ever be used to deploy a network of satellites around Mars for real-time communication? We will never have real-time communication with Mars. It's too far. So there will always be some type of delay. Now, that doesn't mean we couldn't put out relays, help make things come faster, things like that, but just the speed of light is the limitation for the speed of data. And ultimately, that'll always be there no matter what we do. So yeah, we'll never have full real-time communication, which is such an amazing thing that we're going to have to learn to navigate in the next 5 to 10 years, especially when commercial stuff starts happening and more people go to Mars and we're talking. You send them a message, you don't hear anything back for 30 minutes. Very few people are already used to this with Voyager 1 and 2. It's now more than a day and a half each way to send a signal. So it's, you send something, you have to wait 3 days, and then you find out if it worked. Well, you find out in 3 days if it got it and told you it got it, and then you have to wait more until it tells you, hey, it worked. So that's really interesting. We know the Perseverance team actually have 2 watches. They have an Earth watch and a Mars watch, because when we're running missions on Mars, we're not running on Earth clocks. We're working on Mars clocks, because obviously the sun is different and the orbits are different. So we're going to enter this phase in the next 10, 15 years that we've been used to the time zones of Earth, and now we're going to start introducing the time zones of Mars, and possibly even what's going to happen on the moon. They've been talking about what time zone they want to, does the moon get a set time for the whole moon? Or does it have time zones? Or how does that work for the moon? So lots of things still being decided. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And it looks like Blue Origin has gone live a bit early here.
Right behind.
We'll see if they're talking on their feed, or these are just clean shots.
Rocket and listen in.
OSM.
OSM is go.
RC.
RC is go.
ESR.
ESR go.
AC.
AC is go.
Recovery.
Recovery is go.
PLI.
PLI is go.
BMD.
BMD is go.
GC, LC1, LC2, initiate final configurations for terminal count. Report when ready for pre-terminal count gate checks.
GC cut.
LC2 copies.
LC1 copy. LC1 ready.
All right, you heard it there. We are go for terminal count. You heard Launch Director Megan Lewis, and she's been a great asset, of course, to our team. And I know we are all so excited in these final moments. So let's bring in our third member of our Blue Origin team, Eddie Seyfert. Eddie, you were standing by with employees here at Rocket Park. What's the vibe? Oh, well, yeah, I can already hear what the vibe is at that viewing party.
Hey, Tabitha, hey, Ariane. We're so here. We're so happy to be here. Rocket Park is go.
NG2. NG2.
That's right, NG2. That's
I
right.
love
Let's
it.
go Blue.
Eddie,
Escapade.
what kind?
Escapade. Yes, tell me.
What kind of view do you have? Where's the rocket with respect to where you are right now?
Rocket is downrange 9 miles. It's a clear, sunny day in Florida. We've got a great view, and we're very excited to be here.
Oh, that is so great, Eddie. It's so great to see so many employees, just some of the 10,000 employees that are here at Blue Origin who worked on this rocket and worked for this moment. Now, Eddie, really quickly, I have to ask you, a big part of what we do here, and I'm sure a lot of the people behind you have worked on, are our engines. Can you share a little bit more about the engines that are going to be working hard today?
Yeah, Tabitha, look, the upper stage, 2B3U's mega Delta V, mega performance. And the aft section, 7B4s, 3.85 million pounds of thrust, but we're going to be louder.
You certainly are. And of course, Rocket Park is just one of our many locations. We've also got our crews, our Team Blue, down in Texas at Launch Site 1. We've got people out in Kent, and we've got people in DC, in Denver, in Los Angeles, all across the United States, and it is so great to have everyone together for today. So thank you so much, Eddie. And of course, engines, a big part of what we do here at Blue Origin.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, our Jackie Cortez got the chance to talk to Nick Robertson about how engines are the foundation of our operations at Blue.
Nick, thanks for being here today. Tell us some of the big accomplishments and what are you looking forward to in the next year?
Yeah, so one of our biggest goals this year was continuing to increase our production rate, both for our B4 engines, 3U engines and 7 engines. So we roughly doubled our production rate from last year.
Wow.
For B4, something like almost tripled it for B3U. And then going into next year, we're looking to continue to increase that production rate.
We have a Blue Moon Mark 1 mission coming up here soon. What are you excited about in terms of what's left to go on the BE7 engine test campaign, and what else excites you about that engine and the next steps for that program?
We're continuing to do additional testing on that engine, to continue to do risk reduction testing for the mission coming up here early next year. And so the next steps for that are we've got our first flight engines coming through and being acceptance tested for that first vehicle.
We just hit a big milestone with our customer, the United Launch Alliance, and you delivered how many engines to them?
So we've delivered 30 engines to ULA, and so that's a really exciting milestone for us.
We have Testian 4670 at NASA Marshall Space Flight Center. We also work with NASA Marshall at Testian 116 on the BE7 engine. How does that partnership with NASA help you on the engine side?
It's really fantastic to have those test assets and test stands available to us to really just continue to ramp our testing cadence across all the engine programs. We're testing multiple times per day at this point across not just BE7, but also BE4 and BE3U. A lot of test data, that's a lot of learnings that then feeds into being able to increase our production rate, continue to refine our designs and make them better every day.
Well, thank you for joining us, Nick. It's so cool to be in the engines prep lab here at Rocket Park, a little known corner of our glorious Florida site. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jackie.
We've got Huntsville, Alabama. We've got Kent, Washington. We've got Van Horn, Texas. And of course, we have Rocket Park, Florida. We are also ready to see NG2 take to the skies. This moment is palpable, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. There's our headquarters, Kent, Washington. They've got the beach balls. It's kind of like they're down here with us in Florida. They are just absolutely jacked for this moment. As we said, we want to take these two payloads to space so that they go on their way to Mars. But we want to see today, we've been working on this a long time, the first stage of that rocket come down to land for the first time ever.
That's what we're here for. And we're also so excited to see Escapade launch and learn so much more about Mars. But right now, let's actually take a moment to talk about New Glenn's flight profile. So take a look on your screen and follow along with us. First, we have 7 BE4 engines that will lift New Glenn off the pad with 3.8 million pounds of thrust.
So then New Glenn will eventually go supersonic, and right at about 40,000 feet or 12 kilometers up, New Glenn is going to reach what's called max Q, or maximum dynamic pressure. This is when the stress on the vehicle is at its highest. So if we punch through that, we're feeling pretty good about this launch. At about 3 minutes into flight, the engines are going to turn off, marking the end of the boost phase, and the reusable first stage is going to begin its journey back to Earth.
Right, the booster will reorient itself using the reaction control system. There will be a re-entry burn, and then the autonomous system will guide the booster back. And finally, there is going to be a landing burn, landing the booster on the Jacqueline that right now is out at sea about 375 miles offshore.
So that's the first stage, but separately, we've got the second stage that has separated, obviously, from the booster. At that point, the two BE-3Us, Blue Engine 3U, U for upper stage engines, are going to propel the payload into orbit at about 400,000 feet or 120 kilometers up. The fairings, it's kind of like the shroud on the top of the rocket that's protecting the payloads, they're going to jettison off. They're going to fall off. The payload at that point, Escapade, the two twin satellites, are going to deploy at about 33 minutes into flight. So there is kind of a gap between the point where we separate the second stage from the first stage, and after it's had two burns to where we deploy the two satellites.
And Escapade is really a pair of satellites, and they're going to technically deploy 30 seconds apart. And then at about 38 minutes into flight, that's when our Viasat tech demonstration will turn on. So there's a lot of great things and a lot of exciting things happening today with NG2. There it is on the pad, the booster so appropriately named, Never Tell Me the Odds. And Ariane, earlier, I kind of misspoke. I said we're ready for terminal count. I'm ready for terminal count.
You're so excited. You're like, let's fast forward here.
The energy is so good. That is coming up shortly at about the T-4 minute mark. But right now, we're at L-8 minutes and 45 seconds. And we know we have a lot of people who are looking to the skies today. And this is obviously one of my favorite parts of a rocket launch. It's actually watching the rocket launch. So let's dive into where you can see New Glenn across the skies. We've got a cool graphic that kind of explains where you'll be able to see it across the American Southeast.
So within about 60 seconds of launch, New Glenn is going to be visible across all of the Space Coast.
Oh, and then within a minute and a half, NG2 will be visible as far inland as Orlando. So anyone who's at any theme parks is going to be like, oh!
There she goes. Yeah, that's right. So then within about 2 minutes, people on the west coast of Florida will be able to see our launch.
And then right around 2.5 minutes, our friends in Georgia will be able to get a peek of NG2.
And then 3 minutes in, viewers as far north as South Carolina is going to be able to make out our rocket.
By the 4-minute mark, people in both southeast Alabama and southern North Carolina will be able to see NG2 in full view. And people who are really excited to see that, of course, are the people here at Rocket Park. Our very own Eddie Seifert. He's out with our crew. They're pumped, they're hyped. They have the best view of the launch pad right here in Rocket Park. Eddie, I gotta know, what are people saying right now? How is it feeling out there?
Well, there's two overall messages, Ariane, Tabitha. Number one, we're proud of the work we've done. Number two, this team here is grateful. They're grateful that we've been able to work here, that we've been able to work on this mission, that our families and our friends support us on this mission. And we're just excited to launch a rocket today, to get to Mars, and then to land GS1.
And Eddie, you know, your nickname is Engine Eddie.
Yep.
Not a lot of people know. He actually helped lead the test stand for the BE-4 engine down in West Texas. You want to talk a little bit about those beautiful BE-4s that are going to be doing the ascent, but also the descent as we come in to land this booster for the first time ever?
No, thank you, Ariane. A quick shout out to the folks at Launch Site 1 in West Texas at the Geek Stand, the Zeke Stand, and the Veek Stand. I really miss being out with those folks because we get to test rocket engines every day, right? So BE-4 is a medium performing version of a high performance architecture, and the teams at the test stand have been squeezing out more thrust, more performance, and so we're going to see some of that here today. For BE-3U, it actually started with our BE-3 engine that flies New Shepard. Then we upgraded it to 160,000 pounds of thrust. We actually flew it at 174,000 pounds of thrust for its first flight. And so that upgrade path is going to continue. And we're very lucky that we can test at our test stand in West Texas, at our test stand at Marshall Space Flight Test Stand 4670 in California, and that we can test like we fly so that we're fully confident going into today's mission.
Awesome. Thank you, Eddie, for that. Tabitha, I'll just say it's a big day for the BE4 because not only is New Glenn launching today, 7 of these BE4s, but United Launch Alliance is our customer. They also have a launch today. Not today, BE4s are not flying with ULA, but we want to give our customer there a shout out for their launch as well.
Well, speaking of customers, let's talk about Escapade for a second. We have just enough time. We're awaiting that final terminal count coming out at T-4. But Escapade, it is a pair of these twin satellites, and it's doing something really unique, something that it hasn't done. I had the opportunity actually earlier to talk to Dr. Joe Westlake. Earlier in the week, I got to talk to Dr. Nikki Fox, and two big things happening that have never happened before. We are launching in a window that you would normally not launch in to make it to Mars. Normally, you have this tight window that you have to launch in, but right now, those satellites are going to go up, and they're essentially going to go into this kind of coast phase until it's time for them to launch. And the second thing, for the first time ever, 2 different satellites are going to be orbiting Mars and learning more about the atmosphere, and that is going to get us into such a special place when it comes to what we understand about the Martian atmosphere, eventually sending, of course, more robots and eventually humans to Mars. So very exciting to have Escapade and NASA be our customers today for NG2. All right, so finally, it's that time I was so excited about, to listen in for that final go, no-go poll as we move through the final steps before launch and we inch towards terminal count. Let's listen.
T-minus 359.
TCS active. AFSA safety timer started.
AFSS safety timer started.
News for you. We are in terminal count. They did the final go, no-go poll. New Glenn is ready to launch, and we've transitioned into that terminal count. Now, from here on out, you'll be hearing from our flight ops, Patrick Moore.
And from here, the vehicle is also running fully autonomously on software. So our engineers are hands off. They've got their eyes on their screens, but the rocket is in control of itself at the moment.
Yeah, right now they're continuing to condition the propellants on the second stage using chilled helium. You can tell the rocket is nice and cool. And this will continue for another minute or so and helps prep the liquid oxygen and liquid nitrogen that powers the BE-3Us.
Oh, liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen. Sorry, that is for the upper stage.
That's right.
And then also on the first stage, we've got. Oh, hold on a second. There's Kent. Hello, Kent. They're ready for a rocket launch here at 2 minutes ago to launch. One interesting thing to watch here, a couple of things. One is that the 7 engines start in a stagger start. So we've got 3 of the engines that'll start, and then the other 4 engines that start just a second later. We want to make sure that we don't jostle the rocket or jostle the infrastructure too much. The other thing, the thing that you will visibly be able to see that we are go is when we start that big water. You see the big water tower on your left?
That's right.
We are going to flood the base of the launch pad with the water. It helps dampen the vibrations and the heat because, again, we want to make sure that we protect the launch pad, but also the rocket itself here.
And a huge shout out, of course, to Van Horn, to Kent, to Huntsville, Alabama, and our friends here at Rocket Park. We are now, I have gotten the notification, we are on internal power. This is so exciting, Ariane. This is the moment. So that means we've transitioned from ground power to the vehicle's own internal power. We're getting really close here. T-minus 1 minute.
T-minus 60 seconds. Range green. AFSS flight enabled.
Hydraulics are started up on the forward and aft. That's right. You might start to see the engines gimbal a bit here. They're going to move back and forth, make sure they are nice and clear. And we're going to wait here for the big water. Let's turn it back over to mission control. Let's light this candle. Go, New Glenn.
T-minus 30
Now
seconds.
tell me the odds.
Can't wait to see this booster back on Earth.
GS1 hydraulics internal. GS1 at flight level. GS2 at flight level. Hold.
All right, as we've seen here, our team has decided to go into a hold at T-minus 20 seconds. Let's wait to learn just a little bit more here.
Auto safing complete.
Thank you again, everybody. If you're just joining us, we are awaiting here NG2, the second mission of New Glenn. We're at T-minus 20 seconds. Our team has decided to enter a hold here. We've said it on other webcasts before. We spend years designing this rocket, months building it, months designing the missions. If we need a couple of minutes to make sure that the rocket is ready, that our team is ready, that everything on the range is ready.
That's right.
Then we will take that time.
At this moment in time, I do have a statement that says that terminal count abort. The team is currently investigating. Right now, you've got to look inside of GS2. You can see our twin satellites. I believe that's Escapade, correct?
That is Escapade. They're ready for its launch to space, to Mars. It's going to have to wait just a couple more minutes here, obviously. There you see the base of the rocket, the 7 BE-4 engines.
All right, if you're just joining us, this is NG2. We are at T-minus 20 seconds. We are currently in a hold because we had a terminal count abort. Our team, like I said, is currently investigating. So while everything is getting sorted out, we're going to toss it back over to NG2 on the pad and give you more information as it becomes available to us.
And if you're just joining us, you're looking at fantastic live views from Space Launch Complex 36, where New Glenn is fully fueled. We got to terminal count. We got to T-minus 20 seconds, and unfortunately a hold was called on the count. Now, we don't have a reason for this as of yet, but don't worry, we still got time in today's window. So they would have called it already for today if there was no opportunity to recycle. This window runs until 4:25 p.m. So we have an hour 25 for them to try to recycle this mission. Now, given that, that also means that they're probably not going to recycle to the 20-second mark. I believe last time we saw them recycle to 18 minutes, 15 minutes, somewhere around there. We'll wait and see what they do this time. Maybe they will be able to. But we're going to be keeping a close eye on this, listening into the mission control nets to see what happens. But again, thank you to Blue Origin for these live feeds for media to use. It looks like a beautiful day on the Space Coast. Given the fact that we haven't heard a reason yet, I do not believe this was a range issue. I do not believe this was a weather issue. It sounds like this probably would have been some sort of issue with the vehicle. But we'll wait for confirmation on that. That's just based on normally, if it's something like a boat in range, we hear hold, range not clear. and this time we just heard hold, and they stopped the terminal count. But we got way down there, 20 seconds. While we're in this waiting period, we're going to continue answering your guys' comments and questions. You can send those in the chat by tagging me at the launch pad. We also want to hear from you. Will New Glenn release the hold and launch today? Right now, majority of you, just barely, majority are saying no. But we want to hear from you. Take a moment, let us know in the poll. Also, take a moment and fill out a crew application if you're interested in joining us. We got a little bit of time here today while we keep an eye. A beautiful view of Jacqueline stationed out downrange, ready to hopefully recover the booster here today. Be her first landing. Jacqueline, the landing barge named after Jeff Bezos' mother. It would be amazing to see a New Glenn booster come back into Port Canaveral for the very first time. Keep in mind, New Glenn is quite a bit bigger than Falcon 9, so it's going to take up more of the screen. People out on the beach and in the jetty, excited to see them fly here today. Now we just wait for confirmation if they're going to be able to try again here today. As I said, if you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat by tagging me at the launch pad. Work on answering those live. If it's your first time here, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the founder and host here at the Launchpad Network. If you haven't yet, subscribe so you never miss another live launch coverage. We also have our 24/7 Starbase Now live cameras, as well as ISS Now, where you can listen in to station-to-ground communications. Saw a bit of ice break off on the side of the vehicle there. You have to give it Blue Origin's an incredible looking rocket. I know it gets a new camera from Jacqueline. That'll be an amazing shot there for hopefully a landing attempt here. Keep in mind, not only does weather have to be perfect at the launch site, it also has to be perfect for recovery. But we are continuing to hold at that 20-second mark. We were deep into terminal count. Again, huge shout out to our TOP rocket chasers Gavin and Cameron, who are stationed down in the Space Coast, south of the pad, ready to capture today's flight. We've even rented equipment to try to get you guys even better videos and photos. So make sure you stay tuned to our social media and our YouTube to see those if we get a launch here today. Blue Origin has now removed the clock from their stream. We're showing you the clean feed, but we also have the other feed. I can switch quickly that shows the clock there. They have now, there was a clock on that top right. It is now gone. So we'll keep a close eye on that and, of course, patch back in Mission Control when we hear an update. Should we hear any sort of status for today. And Blue Origin playing a video here explaining a bit more about Escapade while we wait for an update on the status of today's flight opportunity. We haven't had an update yet. Teams are continuing to investigate. We also have an update just for information. ULA has begun their countdown for the launch of Atlas V for carrying Viasat 3F2, an ultra-high capacity broadband spacecraft that's set to launch just a few miles north of where New Glenn is, currently targeting liftoff at 10:04 p.m. Eastern Time. If you haven't yet, take a moment, engage that like button, share out the stream. We're not done yet for the day. We are still awaiting an update on the status of today's mission. If they'll be able to try again or not.
Obviously, we had a couple of solar, some solar flares.
That's right.
That came off of the sun, what we call coronal mass ejections, and it has just, we had to play it extra safe for our customers because it can, essentially, if you don't do it right, it can fry the electronics on the satellites, right? So if we had launched, and we were prepared to launch, if we had launched, but then put the satellites up there and then it can't deploy its solar arrays, the computers don't turn on. You can't just go up there and pick up the satellite and repair them. Like, that's why those two beautiful satellites called Blue and Gold, after the UC Berkeley colors. So that is why we decided to take a little bit of time. But as I said, can you imagine what these two satellites would have been able to observe if they were already in, the Martian orbit? But for the future, they're going to be up there and taking plenty of data in to be able to do analyses, of course, for our friends at NASA and all of us that are helping build future missions to go to Mars, both for robotics, satellites, but also, fingers crossed, one day for humans.
That's right, Ariane. So if you're just joining us right now, you are looking at New Glenn NG2 out there on the pad. Let's take a moment, toss it back over to the rocket while our team is investigating an issue.
Really detailed update there. Teams continuing to investigate an issue. We don't know what that issue is. We did just put a new link in the pinned comment on YouTube here. We wanted to give a shout out to our incredible TLP rocket chasers. Our 2026 TLP calendars and brand new prints of New Glenn are now available over at the launchpad.store. If you use the promo code Escapade, you can get 10% off your entire order. Global shipping is available for our US customers. We do have metal prints starting to become available as well. Unfortunately, we're only able to ship those in the US as of now. We are working to change that, but we're super excited to have some incredible posters and some incredibly epic 2026 calendars. If you place an order while we're live, we'll do a shout out for you for an order, and I can see how many of you are on the site, so take a second, click that link in the chat. and definitely check it out, share it out. We appreciate that. All the profits from those calendars help go to our rocket chasers to get better equipment and to bring you guys even better coverage as well. Blue Origin has reset the clock, 31 minutes, 45 seconds, and counting. That is a new T0 that has been set. 31 minutes from now, I'm going to try to do some very quick math. That would be 3:45, 3:46 p.m. Eastern Time. It looks like is what they are now targeting for another launch opportunity. But we will wait for that official exact second here. Hopefully we should have an update here momentarily from them on what that time will be. But a great sign that they are going to continue with another attempt here today. That clock now officially running is a great sign that they are going to recycle and go for another attempt here. We're going to update hours, take down that hold, and the clocks there are synced. Oh, we need to take a minute off. We will sync them, and they will be running as we await a status update from Blue Origin here in just a moment. And while we have this extra time, we'll be answering your guys' comments and questions. You can send those in the chat by tagging me at the Launchpad, and I'll work on answering those live. We'll do those order shoutouts as they come in as well, while we take in these gorgeous views of New Glenn. Taking a quick look over at the weather status board coming in from the U.S. Space Force, as well as NASA Kennedy Space Center and the GOES weather satellites currently in orbit. Looks like a great day for a launch. Super clear skies, no real weather. We got green on that middle screen, which is a great sign. No lightning, no wind warnings, and things like that. So a really great looking day for a launch opportunity here. And we are now counting down to a new opportunity for launch. Catching up on your guys' comments and questions that you're setting in the chat. Laura, everyone's saying it's going to scrub. We'll have to wait and see. We're not entirely certain of that just yet. They do have time in their window. Taking a look again at that launch window that they have, this would be just past the center of it. They do have until 4:25 p.m. For an opportunity for launch. But beautiful looking day there. This makes sense. Normally when you recycle, you don't recycle to that 20-second mark. Just like Starship, they can hold at that 40-second mark, but they can only do so for so many minutes because that's built into their program. So it does not surprise me that we're seeing a longer recycle here. And hopefully we will see a liftoff here in about 28.5 minutes. Just means some more excitement. I say, didn't think you could move the time forward after a certain time of a countdown because of the rocket. So that depends on the payload more than the rocket. Rockets can be modified on their trajectory, their burn times, things like that. Now, obviously, it depends on the weight of the payload, but it more depends on where they're launching to. The easiest way to think about this is with Starlink. The best way to think about Starlink is you've got this conga line of Starlinks in orbit in a straight line that go all the way around the Earth. Well, when you launch the first 29 into that conga line, you could launch them basically whenever because they're the first ones in that conga line. But then when you launch the second group of 29, you can launch almost any time except when you would be hitting that first group of 29. So you might have a short no-go period. But the more that you launch into that one conga line, the more you can't launch. And that's when you get eventually to a point where you're trying to put satellites in an exact tiny area of that conga line that you have to launch it at an exact second to get there, give or take sometimes a couple seconds. The secondary thing you have to think about is this mission is leaving where most satellites are. This is immediately going past where most satellites are. So you need to make sure that you have a clear tunnel through every single satellite. Make sure you're not going to hit anything. So that means you have limitations. And we heard this a lot with Artemis, that they had a 40-minute launch window, but there was like 18 minutes of that they couldn't launch because they would hit something. So they could go 1 second, then they couldn't go for 6 seconds, and then they could go for 2 minutes, and it's a whole thing that they have to do. And the more satellites we have in orbit, the harder and harder that's going to get, and the more exact that's going to have to be. For today's mission, that secondary thing is going to be more of an issue than the first, because we're not going into a constellation conga line. We are going straight through everything. So as long as we're not going to hit something, we have a bit more availability for it, but there are still limitations because you need the payload to be in its position to do this kidney-shaped phasing orbit for a year, but then in a year, it needs to be at the right place at the right time to lower its burn, bring it back to Earth to then slingshot and burn to leave for Mars. So we're still thinking about the math a year from now, even for today's launch date. Kind of crazy. Looks like Blue Origin doing another interview here. Let's see. They might have music. We'll listen in. Hopefully they don't.
About what the sun does to Mars. Well, Escapade is a space weather mission. We're going out to ensure and protect the space weather effects on Mars, on our astronauts, on our spacecraft that are there at Mars. And as we saw over the last couple of days, space weather is kind of a big deal,
It certainly is. Can you kind of talk about how space weather affected our launch?
Yeah, so hopefully folks over the last couple of days got to see some really pretty light.
The Aurora Borealis, as they call it.
Just incredible, right?
Stunning.
We saw across the U.S., even down here at the Florida at the Space Coast.
Space Coast, yeah.
Right, we saw red aurora sat over top of our rocket. And that's really cool, that's a pretty light show. But what that really means is that the magnetosphere is kind of angry, right? It's got a lot of energetic particles that have come in from the sun, right? A coronal mass ejection came in, multiple coronal mass ejections came in from the sun, and they pushed into how, atmospheric escape happens at Mars.
Because Mars doesn't have the same atmosphere that we do here on Earth, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's always been a big question, right? When I look at the difference between our beautiful planet here on Earth and the water and the oceans and other things, why is Mars so different, right? There's a great question that relates to how Mars's atmosphere has escaped over the years, over the decades, over the millennia. And Escapade's actually going to deliver to us a better understanding of whether the atmospheric escape changes in time or changes in space, right? And so getting that feeling and getting that understanding will let us figure out how Mars has changed over its history and be able to conserve and understand how that applies to us here at Earth.
And for the first time, we have a lot of firsts, actually. So we have 2 satellites that are deploying that are going to give us information. And on top of that, this is the first time we are deploying not during the critical Mars window. We're actually going to go into kind of this lollygagging phase just for a little bit until we hit that window. Can you kind of explain that?
So isn't that amazing? Usually when you think about the planets aligning, right? I mean, the greatest planet alignment was when we sent the Voyagers out in the 70s, right? All the planets have aligned. We've gone and done the grand voyage, right? But as you go to Mars, every 2 years a window opens up where you can make the most efficient trip to Mars. And all that means is that Earth and Mars are in the right spot of the trajectory or the right spot of their travel every year to where you can actually get from one to the other. So once every 2 years, we line up and we make this, it's like, how many Mars missions can we get off the ground in that one window?
In that little window, yeah.
But one of the great things, one of the innovations that we're doing here with Escapade today is we're actually going to send it outside of that window. We're going to send it outside of that window because we can put it into a very benign, safe parking orbit and let it sort of hang out, loiter, hang out near us here at Earth. So we can make some measurements about the space weather here around Earth, and we can prep for those spacecraft to then, with their own propulsion, get themselves out to Mars when that window opens. We always talk about how, spacecraft are, frankly, the safest out in space, right? There aren't earthquakes or hurricanes or other things to worry about when they're out in space. And plus, we always love to have amazing data that come down from our spacecraft, almost no matter where they are.
Certainly. And what's interesting is we're sitting here in 2025, but this mission is really going to take, I mean, it's 5 years when you also count all the way to when we're going to get the data that starts to come back, right? So 2025, around 2027 is when Escapade will actually be at Mars, and then it starts kind of being reoriented. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, we have a couple of different orbit scenarios with Escapade because we have different questions, right? So one of the questions is, I want to be able to follow, have a leading following orientation of the two spacecraft, and I want to see how things are changing in time by doing that. But then we're also going to spread them out in longitude, so like east-west. And we're going to try and fly them somewhat side by side. But then we're going to ask questions that are like, okay, what's the inside the Martian atmosphere versus the outside? And there's a lot of dynamics and other things that we can do with these, really two very capable spacecraft that we're sending out to Mars.
And another cool thing about your job is you get to work with Dr. Nikki Fox. I was able to grab her into our webcast the other day.
Yes.
But today's a special day for her, right?
Yeah, it's a really special day. So, when we talk about having rockets and lighting candles and other things, this is her birthday. So we get to light a candle today. I think it's going to be really amazing to be able to,
quite the birthday candle.
Obviously, we're not going to blow it out until we get Escapade up and moving, but quite the candle, and it's amazing.
Well, let's send it off to Dr. Nikki Fox. Happy birthday, Dr. Fox, and go NG2.
Yeah, excellent. Go New Glenn, go Escapade, and we're just so jazzed to be here.
And we're so grateful to have you as a customer. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Heliophysicist, who knew? Not in the dictionary, and he gave us so much good information, of course, on why we're affected by essentially that solar weather. So right now, you are looking at New Glenn on the pad as we await the launch of NG2, L- about 20 minutes. But let's take it back over to our very own Eddie Seifert, who is with employees right here at Rocket Park at the best spot to watch New Glenn take to the skies. Eddie, how are things over there?
Hey Tabitha, hey Ariane, we are on top of the world. That's certainly what it feels like on this momentous occasion. And I changed up the view a little bit. Behind me, you see Lunar Plant 1. That's our newest building at Rocket Park. Now, Rocket Park sits on 250 acres of what used to be an orange grove. That was pre-2016. Since 2016, we've added 2.5 million square feet of production space. And our newest building, it's building the lunar landers that are going to help NASA and help Blue Origin return to the moon, this time to stay.
And Eddie, I think we talked about this a little bit on our last webcast. That building behind you is massive. It's hard to tell because you're elevated yourself, but maybe you can talk a little bit to the scale of that building, as well as its location relative to other facilities here at Rocket Park.
That's right, Ariane, if you're ever driving on Space Commerce Way, you'll see it. You'll see just how massive it is, right? If I'm standing on top of the world and that building's even taller, it's tall enough to house the 16-meter tall lunar lander, which is twice as big as the Mark 101 Pathfinder that we're going to launch to the moon later this year. When that lunar lander lands on the moon, it will be the largest lunar lander to have ever landed, and we're just going to get bigger from there. So we're very excited about Mark 1 later this year or early next year, and then Mark 2 to return humans to the moon, this time to stay. And you mentioned the co-location. So the fact that we can be co-located with New Glenn means that we can encapsulate that very large lander in the very large New Glenn fairing here on site, and then we can drive it out to our integration facility to essentially place it on top of the New Glenn vehicle, much like we have Escapade today.
Eddie, thank you so much. Always so great to talk to Eddie because he can talk at hours and at length about anything to do with engines, with lunar, and of course, he's our hype man out there with everyone here at Rocket Park. Thank you again. If you didn't notice, on his shirt actually are little lunar landers as well. But right now, we're going to toss it over to New Glenn on the pad as we await the launch of NG2. And in about 30 seconds here, we're going to hear another go poll. So let's go ahead and listen in.
at the top of your screen, we have unfortunately once again entered a hold. We were at L minus 17 minutes 4 seconds, and we have entered another hold. Waiting for an update from Blue Origin.
Tap. is NG2. We're at L minus 18 minutes and about 40 seconds. Now, coming up at the 17-minute mark, we will have that poll for terminal count. But Ariane, right now, I want to talk about how incredible this rocket is, how unique this rocket is. Can you kind of walk through for our viewers what makes this vehicle so unique?
Sure. It's a two-stage vehicle. If you were able to tune in on Sunday, you saw a little bit of this explanation. But basically, when you talk about a two-stage vehicle, all that means, for those of you that are not rocket nerds like us, is that we're just stacking a rocket on top of a rocket. GS1, Glenn Stage 1, is the one on the bottom. It pushes Glenn Stage 2, the rocket on the top. And then on top of Glenn Stage 2, GS2, you see that shroud in there. That's the payload fairing. In the payload fairing today are payloads, NASA's Escapade, the 2 satellites. But what makes this rocket so special? We're going to land the first stage. The first stage is reusable. And what's cool about this first stage in particular is, we've had our New Shepard program, our suborbital program. We've learned so much from that rocket program. And there's actually some interesting similarities between the two, but also some differences. Up here, you see that we've put we call them now the forward fins at the top. Those help with the directional capability. New Shepard also has those. But this one, we also have the strakes. We want to be able to essentially fly this rocket back home and relight the engines. So it's a beautiful rocket. I cannot see it do its thing this first time in just a couple of minutes here.
I know. And at L minus 17 minutes, let's listen in for that go poll for terminal count. All right, guys, we have New Glenn on the pad, and the reason I have my computer in front of me is so I can tell you these great things. So we are go for terminal count at L minus 15 minutes and 30 seconds. You are watching NG2, New Glenn on the pad, the booster so appropriately named Never Tell Me the Odds, Ariane, and a great day to fly.
A beautiful day to fly. Looks a lot better than it did on Sunday. We were just constantly fighting the Florida weather down here. It would be sunny, and then it would be rain, storm, lightning, and then it would be sunny again. It was a lot going on. But today is a beautiful, beautiful day to fly. So as you mentioned, we're now at L minus 15 minutes to go from New Glenn's second launch. And Tabitha, you recently had the chance to chat with our CEO, Dave Limp, about NG2, today's mission, and what this mission means for science and for our company.
Yeah, you can see Kent right there on your screen. Hey, guys, giving you lots of love right here from the desk. Also thinking about our guys in Huntsville, Alabama, Van Horn, Texas, and of course, right here in Rocket Park. Now, when I got to talk to Dave, not only did he share his message to the more than 10,000 employees here at Blue Origin, some of which you see on your screen, but also how important NG2 is to focus on for our customers.
There was lots.
Really big moment for Blue Origin. Can you tell me how NG2 compares to NG1?
Yeah, I think NG1 was obviously our first mission. There was lots to learn, and we did learn a lot, and unbelievably successful in that we made our goal, which was to get to orbit. This time we're going to be a little bit more ambitious. We want to not only get to orbit, but we have our first paying customer this time with Escapade and get them off to Mars. That's the first part of our goal. And then the second part of the goal is to land the booster out on Jacqueline. And if we don't, we have more over here in the factory that we're building, but we're going to give it our best shot.
Never Tell Me the Odds is pretty fitting for this booster. We are taking our second attempt at landing it for the first time. How are you going to feel if we land it?
Well, I certainly will not channel my inner C-3PO. I will be very ecstatic. I would be on pins and needles up to that point, but it would be a huge achievement for the team and for Blue. I think that we have a good chance, but if we don't, like I said, we can build more, but I will be over the moon if it happens.
Now, New Glenn is obviously just one of the many systems we have here, right? We have New Shepard, we have Lunar, we have In-Space Systems. How are all of those organizations really working together to further our ultimate goals?
Yeah, I think each component of what we do has a piece of trying to get millions of people to work and live in space, and they all have their individual. But as it relates to this particular mission, a huge amount of people have put work into it. Obviously, our engines team in building both the engines for the booster, the BE-4s, and the BE-3Us for the upper stage. We also have a huge amount of work by the obviously New Glenn team building this vehicle, but also New Shepard has been a pathfinder. So all our avionics fly on New Shepard first so that we can get a sense of what's going on there and get a sense what it's like to have flight-ready hardware. And so it takes a whole team, and it's a very big cross-functional effort across Blue.
We have more than 10,000 employees here that are very excited about this moment. I'm one of them. What is your message to those who are going to be watching our webcast and be watching NG2 take to the skies?
Well, I think everybody will be a little bit on pins and needles, I'm sure. But I would say that this is a culmination of a lot of work from a lot of teams. It's not the end point of our journey. Obviously, we have a lot more rockets to make and a lot more customers to make happy as we move forward. But to the extent we're successful here, I hope everybody at Team Blue takes a pause, smiles a bit, celebrates, because it'll be a great achievement for us. And we'll take that deep breath, we'll sort of embrace the moment and then move on, because we have a lot of customers waiting for us to succeed. And there's nothing that makes you happier in business and in your life when you see the smile on customers' faces.
Did you ever think that you would be doing something like this in your career when you're watching your rockets launch? No?
No, not in a million years. I was very happy making Fire TVs and Echoes, but it is a boyhood dream, and so to be able to have it, I kind of pinch myself every day and just amazed that I get to wake up and help this and lead this amazing team of people build incredible technology like New Glenn.
I mean, and in reference to that, one of the first things they ask you when you come onto Blue Origin is, what is your first memory of space? What is your first memory of space?
Yeah, I have a lot of pictures. It turned out my third, fourth, and fifth birthday, I have these old Polaroids of the cake, and they all have rockets on it. I was enamored with rockets as a kid, and never took the path where I thought I'd be running a rocket or a rocket company, but it turns out that it was very early in my life that I had a lot of love for it.
And we're so grateful to have you here at the helm. Dave, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Obviously, so great to get to talk to Dave, especially when we're kind of on the edge of this historic moment. But like he said, no matter what happens today, we have lots of hardware behind us already in the works. And it's a great day for Blue Origin. And we're so proud of everyone who's been a part of Team Blue up until this point.
Absolutely. And you can actually see the difference even between now, today and Sunday. They're getting ready to work on, looks like this one is going to be the next forward. We've got another forward. We've got another aft over here. So we've got a lot of rockets that are coming down the line. But we're just feeling pretty good about, okay, cautiously optimistic. We know how difficult this is. I'm going to lose my mind if we land this booster today. But as we mentioned, we've got other hardware coming down the line.
Yeah, and landing the booster, it's no easy undertaking. Now, our team, including myself, recently had the opportunity to spend a day at sea with our Jacqueline crew and learn more about the operation of landing and securing the booster. A live look at Jacqueline right there. Now, this is an operation and a moment that will change the course of Blue Origin history. Check it out.
The Jacqueline is the landing platform vessel where New Glenn will come down, land, and we secure it and bring it back in.
She's 380 foot long, 150 foot wide, and she's a self-propelled vessel. We are the recovery side of the operation. This is where GS1 is going to land, and actually that feather is a center point.
We have to leave 4 days before launch. We check all our equipment, and we ensure that everything is working, everything is fully functional. We transit for 300 to 400 miles, depending on how far the landing location is. And once we get there, dynamic positioning allows the thrusters on board here will hold this in position within a range of about 10 feet.
We'll have a couple small changes of Jacqueline's position. They're going to feed us new coordinates, right? So we might move 500 yards this direction, a little that way, but we're generally in the area. And right up to like 45 minutes or an hour before, that's our final position.
When the booster lands, the ROV will come out. Once it's mated with the booster effectively, we'll start pumping high-pressure nitrogen into the booster, which will allow the detanking process to continue to make the booster inert and safe for us to operate around.
Let me just start with the basics. You have a 200-foot tall tower that has just been 120 kilometers up, and we're trying to hit a 150-foot by about 400-foot boat out there, and then the landing pad, as you see, is even smaller than that. Fun fact, the landing pad that you see there, the circle, is the same diameter as the landing pad for New Shepard. So to give you a sense, that's hard. So you've got this huge 200-foot tall tower that's coming in. We're going to slow it down with first a reentry burn, then we're going to do another burn to slow it down, and then we're just with 3 engines, then shut it down to just 1 engine.
That's right.
And we do have throttling capability on the first stage, and it'll come in for a nice soft landing, because if you think about it, it was full of fuel on the way up. When it comes down, it's essentially an empty fuel tank. So while it is heavy and very tall here,
there's those engines right
the
there.
7 BE4 engines, and the center engine is the one that's going to be doing all the hard work as it comes in just in the last seconds there. And so you don't need as much power. We can pull back on the power for a nice soft landing. And when we do, it will be an extraordinary day. But we've talked about it. This is just the beginning.
It really is.
We will bring this rocket back. We'll refurbish it. We'll examine it. We've got all sorts of thoughts on what we're going to need to do to refurbish the vehicle. But our whole game plan, launch, land, repeat, is to be able to flip this rocket around and fly it again very shortly here. I should say with New Shepard, we landed the first time in November of 2015.
And here we are 10 years later.
And here we are, well, 10 years later, yeah, but it only took us about 2 months to flip around the first rocket that had ever gone to space and back. So
Right-hand corner, you see L minus 4 minutes and about 6 seconds. That's going to change to a T minus any moment, and that is really when the vehicle itself is starting to run on its own. We're going to start being able to hear our mission ops, Patrick Moore.
AFSS timer enabled.
Terminal count system is active. From here on out, the vehicle is running fully autonomously on software.
Disengaged. T-minus 330. Rapid retract armed. Magic charge initiated.
How exciting here. We're ticking down. In 3 minutes, we're going to launch this vehicle to space. We're going to put 2 satellites on their way to Mars, and we're going to try to land that booster for the first time. So exciting, and a big props to our launch control team that has managed to do a recycle on this vehicle. We want to fly today, Tabitha.
Oh, there are the cheers. Yes, the energy is palpable. Our launch director, Megan Lewis, she's in the control room now. I know this is an exciting moment from her. There we have employees from all across the United States. This is Huntsville, Alabama. Big shout out to our teams there. And of course,
GS1 pre-press
HQ,
start.
Kent Washington, we see you.
Washington.
All right, rocket going through its last
GS2
motions here,
start.
making sure the tanks are pressurized to their proper flight levels.
That's right.
A warm day in Florida, but that rocket is super cold with its chilled propellants. T-minus 2 minutes to go. LNG on the first stage, liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen on the second stage. New Glenn looking beautiful. And there you go.
Beachgoers with a great view.
What makes this place so special down here on the Space Coast? A day on the beach, but you can sit there because our pad is so far south. A spectacular view for everybody here in Cocoa Beach.
Now we've transitioned from ground power to the vehicle's own internal power. I mean, we are getting close. Aria, hold my hand. I'm getting really excited. There are those BE-4s, 7 of them, ready to take New Glenn.
3.85 million pounds of thrust combined.
60 seconds.
In just 60
Range
seconds
green,
here, as
AFSS
mentioned
flight
before,
enabled.
we will light 4 of the engines, then 3 of the engines, just about a second or 2 off for a staggered start. You'll see the big water deluge, and that's when you know that it's game on.
I love hearing all those sounds.
You hear the power up.
You certainly do.
And with that,
you'll see that water any second now.
Let's turn it over to launch control. Let's go, New Glenn.
GS1 hydraulics internal.
Never tell me
GS1
the
at
odds.
flight level. GS2 at flight level. Autopilot enabled. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff detected. Tense motion. New Glenn has cleared the towers.
New Glenn has cleared the tower! Go, way to go!
Pushing 7 good engines. 30 seconds into flight. Engine operating parameters continue with good at full thrust. Body weight response to normal. 40 seconds in. End of roll strict now level. 50 seconds into flight. Continue to see good engine operating parameters. All set for
A clean burn. We're coming up here on max Q, maximum dynamic pressure. This is the rocket
parameters
punched
continue to look
through
good.
that max Q.
Seeing
Let's
good
stand
TDC
by.
control, good MR control. 1 minute, 15 seconds in. Now passing Mach 1, New Glenn is now supersonic.
Supersonic!
And we can hear the
1 minute, 30
roar here
seconds.
in rocket bars.
Engine operating parameters continue to look good at full thrust. Max Q, maximum dynamic pressure. One minute, 45 seconds in.
We have passed Max
All
Q.
7
The
V4
rumble
engines
is
continue to
real.
look good. Body rate phenomenal. Seeing good control on MR and TDC. Acceleration profile phenomenal. Now passing 2 minutes into flight.
The 7 BE4 is unreal.
One minute remaining in boost phase.
All right, 1 minute remaining in boost phase. You heard our team say. Then we'll hit MECO, main engine cutoff. That's going to lead to a sequence of events. We will separate the first stage from the second, and that's when the first stage is going to begin its journey back home. We're going to see if we can land the booster separately. Of course, we will get the second stage off and going with the NASA Escapade satellites on board on their way to Mars.
Trajectory continues to look good, seeing good data quality coming down from the vehicle. Body rate response
Great to hear
phenomenal.
that. Good data quality.
All 7 engines continue
Looking
to look
nominal. Next up, MECO, which is main engine cutoff. The cheers are real. You can hear them all the way in here.
good. And we have MECO.
And we have MECO.
And we have good stage set.
We have good stage separation.
And we have ignition on stage 2. Both engine parameters look good.
Ignition.
Oh, you see the 2 rockets there.
Body rate stamping out nicely. Both B3U engines look good at the high thrust set point. Body rate responses look good. 3 minutes, 43 seconds into flight.
Great shot. Look at that view.
We have good indication of payload fairing jettison. Both B3U engines continue to look good. Body rate response phenomenal. Seeing good data coming down from both stages.
Great data. We're 4 minutes into NG2.
And you saw their spectacular view from down from our GS2.
Continue to look good. This is a 9.5 minute burn for GS2. 4 minutes, 25 seconds into flight.
Wow. All right, at 9 minutes is when we're expecting the first stage to touch down on Jacqueline.
Approximately 2 minutes remaining in the GS1 coast.
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us for NG2. So far, a nominal mission.
GS2 is now
Our second
320
mission of
kilometers
NG2.
downrange, traveling at 2.8 kilometers per second. Trajectory
We had
continues
a
to look
clean
good on
ascent
both stages.
burn, clean separation, clean fairing
Right down the middle of the range
jettison.
track. Engine operating parameters on GS2 look good. 5
Sounds like
minutes,
our
16 seconds into
GS2
flight.
is having a beautiful ride. The NASA Escapade satellites are
GS1 has
exposed
reached
to
apogee,
space
now
right
entering the
now.
descent phase.
And we've got GS1 coming
E3Us
down
continue
for
to look
landing
good. GS2 body
at
rate
T
phenomenal.
plus 9 minutes.
One minute remaining in the GS1 coast. Continue to see good data coming down from both GS1 and GS2. Body rates on both stages look good. The E3U engines look good.
Everything looking good, looking nominal.
Seeing good TVC
And
and
Ari,
MR
on this
control
moment
on
coming up
GS2.
is an important one.
Trajectory
It is.
continues to look good.
We're going to relight the BE4 engines for the reentry
Body rate
burn.
snowing out on GS1. The exo turn is complete.
There you go. It's about 300,000 feet, less than 100
6 minutes,
kilometers
30
up
seconds
there,
into
coming
flight.
in for a landing on the Jacqueline, 375 miles offshore, waiting for the first time to land
And
Blue
standing by for
Origin's
GS1
New Glenn
ignition
booster
shortly.
on the Jacqueline.
Continue to see body rates on GS1.
That looks great. We have our booster reentry burn. All three engines.
No matter what happens next, we have had a good day. This is further than we made it on NG1.
That's right.
See indication of engine ignition on GS1. Continue to see good data from GS1.
About a minute and a
GS2
half
engine parameters look good.
is when we would see.
Confirm engine cutoff.
Never
on
tell me
GS1.
the odds. Return to Earth.
You
7
see it in
minutes,
kind of
40
that
seconds into
horizontal
flight.
position. We've got the strakes on the base of the booster, which give it lift. So we can basically fly this booster. Of course, we're using the forward fins as well, plus some of our reaction control system to, as well as the gimbling
GS1
on the
now passing
BE4
30% max
engines
Q.
to
Passing
turn
8 minutes
the rocket
into flight.
accordingly. On here, it starts to tilt
GS1
down.
now halfway
1
in its
minute to
planned
go.
burn. GS1 systems,
Less than
GS2 systems
40,000
continue to look
feet.
good. GS2 throttle down complete. Responses look good. 8 minutes, 20 seconds in flight. Standing by for landing burn ignition. And we have landing burn ignition. See 3 good engines.
We've got our booster landing burn.
Engine control looks good.
Of course, those quads are there.
8 minutes, 43 seconds in flight. Legs deployed. Now down to one
Great
engine
shot
burn.
from our booster.
Standing by for touchdown.
Landing gear deployed.
Standing by for touchdown. Touchdown confirmed. GS2 continuing through its turn. System looks good. Left out full time. GS2 systems continue to operate well as it's continuing to its planned burn. Looks good. And good MR connection support. GS2 trajectory is now right down the middle of the racetrack. 10 minutes, 15 seconds in flight.
Congratulations, Team Blue. You did it.
Now passing 10 minutes, 40 seconds into flight. GS2 trajectory continues to look good and body rates phenomenal. Tank pressures look good. Engine operating parameters look good. GS2 is now 1,600 kilometers downrange, traveling at 5.9 kilometers per second.
On the right-hand side, GS2. On the left-hand side, you have our booster, our
Less
New
than
Glenn
2 minutes
booster.
now remaining to
Never
Seco.
tell me the odds. Right there on the Jacqueline in the middle of that feather. Absolutely incredible. Congratulations, guys.
A landed orbital rocket. What an incredible
What a day
for Blue Origin, for the space industry.
GS2 systems continue to look good through its burn.
I'm speechless, which is rare for me.
Approximately 1 minute remaining in the burn.
GS2 continues,
of course, on a nominal path.
On a nominal path. I need a second to catch my breath.
GS2 body rates remain stable.
I think I heard my hand banging on the table too much. This is
Control on
incredible.
PVC and MR. Tank pressures are nominal. Throttle pressures are stable.
Oh, I'm getting word they're going to replay the landing. That's something so good, you got to watch it twice. Give it back to us.
12 minutes, 30 seconds in the flight.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
Standing by for Chico 1 shortly.
Landing
Perfect.
of the first stage of New Glenn with the one central BE4. Let's wait here for our second stage. It's going to cut off its engine. It's done its first burn.
And we have Seco, GS2 engine cutoff.
Seco 1.
Yeah.
Seco 1 is confirmed. GS2 right down the track.
Damping out nice.
Currently in the coast phase.
We have one for two so far on our two objectives for our second mission of New Glenn. We have landed the booster for the first time ever. And next up, in about 20 minutes here, we are going to separate the blue and gold satellites of NASA's Escapade mission. Of course, the most important thing of any launch is making sure you get your payloads where they need to go. And
there's our team in Ken. Hey, guys. That's right. Oh, I see the celebration.
Huntsville, thank you. Thank you for those beautiful engines.
GS2 systems are operating nominally as the vehicle is in its first
We
coast.
love you too, Huntsville.
I see you. That place is wall to wall. That just shows you the passion and the dedication of every single person that works here at Blue Origin. And Eddie, you're with our friends here at Rocket Park.
Hey,
give it to us. What's going on?
Next
This
stop,
time in
moon.
flight,
Next
GS2 is
stop,
now
moon.
3,020
Next stop,
kilometers
moon. That's what
downrange,
everybody's saying back here.
7.9
Guys,
kilometers per
what a
second.
day, what a momentous occasion, an incredible opportunity to witness live.
Eddie, I'm going to be honest with you. It's so loud around you. They're chanting so loud, and rightfully so. I'm having a hard time hearing you. But you got to tell me, what is this moment like for you, Eddie? You've been here a long time. You've seen the New Shepard booster land for the first time, and now you're watching New Glenn.
10 minutes remaining in the coast.
Yeah, this one was way better. Just incredible to watch. We're just here, launch, land, repeat. It starts today.
Launch, land, repeat. I love it, Eddie. And I believe we also have some video, of course, of the celebrations happening all throughout Rocket Park, in every corner of what is going on in this building. Here's a moment. And of course, that's mission control, launch control. Where is it? You know you're going to see it when they do it. There it is.
Oh, in the middle there, you see Jeff Bezos, Jordan Charles, the head of our New Glenn program, Dave Limp.
Celebrations all around. And there you have it. Let's show it to you one more time.
15 minutes
Our
into
New
flight.
Glenn booster
Continuing
out
to see
on
good
the
data coming down
Jacqueline.
from GS2.
Oh,
body
I
rate.
can't wait till she comes
Stable
home.
I have never seen
towards
anything
coast.
more beautiful.
Continuing to see good
Not
tank
since the
pressure
first
control.
landing of
Bottle
New
pressures look
Shepard
good.
in November of 2015.
voltages
My
phenomenal.
goodness, we are almost
10 years
almost
later.
exactly 10 years apart to land our booster. Just incredible. And now we're watching here. We've got a map here on the left. That's our stage 1 that, of course, made this beautiful landing on the Jacqueline, 375 miles off the coast. And what you're seeing there in the center of your screen, GS2 with NASA's Escapade satellites on board. We're waiting. We have about another 16, 17 minutes until we deploy the 2 satellites.
That's right.
First the blue, then 30 seconds later, the gold to give them some space. And then about 5 minutes after that, we also have what we call a hosted payload on board, a Viasat radio tech demonstrator on board that we will also power on. But right now, all 3 payloads are exposed to space and are on a beautiful flight, a completely nominal flight.
That's right.
So far on its way to space and waiting for deployment here.
And at 17 minutes into flight, landing the booster, of course, was a historic moment for us here at Blue Origin. But the show isn't over. Still tracking, of course, deployment of Escapade. And here's some of the milestones we want you to be aware of over the next 20-ish minutes. All right, at the T+25 minute, the second stage engine will ignite. At T26:44, we're going to have SECO 2, which is that second stage engine cutoff. And then, of course, at the T+33 minute mark, and that's when we finally get to see Escapade deploy. They're going to deploy and separate at about 30 seconds apart. First blue separation and then gold separation. And finally, as you mentioned, Ariane, we will have at about T+38 minutes that Viasat tech demonstration will turn on. But we have got one accomplishment under our belt, and as we await the second one with our mission today, I got the chance to actually catch up with Dr. Shannon Curry. Now, she's a project scientist on Escapade, and she explains how long it took to get to this point with Escapade and what this moment means for their missions.
Approximately 6.5 minutes remaining in the coast. These 2 body rates have remained stable throughout the coast and continue to see good data coming down from the vehicle. Trajectory is nominal.
Shannon, can you kind of explain how Escapade really encapsulates the past, the present, and the future?
Yes, especially working with Blue Origin. What Escapade can do is tell us about what happened at Mars billions of years ago. It used to be habitable with oceans and lakes of water, but then something happened to its atmosphere. All of that water evaporated and dried up, and now we have this desert that it is today. And that brings us to today, which is that if we understand Mars's atmosphere and what it's doing, we can help protect future assets, especially not just robots landing on the surface, knowing how they enter that atmosphere safely, but it's not an if, it's a when humans actually go to Mars, and that brings us to our future. And so Escapade, working with a company like Blue Origin, is going to change how we get to Mars and how we protect our assets there, our robots and our crewed flight.
What is the most exciting part about being a part of this project for you?
So the thing I'm the most excited about is that this is going to change how we go to Mars. So we've never done a mission like this at NASA or really in any other part of the world. And using all of these commercial sectors where we're pushing the envelope and we're doing incredible kinds of technology to get low cost, high risk science and get our taxpayers the best bang for their buck, you can't beat that.
So can you dive in a little more and explain how both commercial and academic
now just
partnerships
past 20 minutes
lead to
into
something
flight,
like Escapade?
less than 5 minutes
Absolutely.
remaining in the coast.
The academic environment means you just get to think for a living. You get to think of these ideas, and this is where the theory comes in. But then the commercial partnerships, these are the experiments.
And we are now
these are the
seeing
people
tank
who make
pressures
it happen.
increasing
They
in
make all of
preparation
our
for the next burn.
dreams in academia, all of our dreams at
And good system
universities
response.
happen. And NASA then enables that. So you have this like perfect 3 points of this like pyramid to do incredible and great things at places like Mars.
How long has this project been underway? I mean, when did the first idea for Escapade come about, bringing it to today?
Rob and I started thinking about this mission back in 2016 and 2017, and it took years of planning and years of iteration until we found the right partners, we found the right spacecraft, we found the right rocket, and here we are today. So we are coming up on 10 years in the making to make this happen.
So 10 years in the making to get us to the point of launch. And then once it launches, you have another, let's see, we're in 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, another 5-ish years of getting the data before you get the data and then processing that.
5 years of science to me sounds like heaven. So I think for some folks, waiting is hard, but for the science team, we are ecstatic. We will take every single bit of data that we can get. And again, with working with our partners, being able to get all of that data and enabling this incredible opportunity to explore not just Mars, but actually the entire trajectory there, that's science waiting to happen.
What is your message to all the collaborators who've had hands on Escapade at this moment in time as you're kind of just waiting for it to deploy?
To all of our collaborators,
3 minutes remaining to engine
thank you from the bottom of my heart. We're so excited. We can't wait to work with you, and we're going to totally change how we do things at Mars. As we get ready for launch, my final thoughts are go Escapade, go Blue, and we're so happy to be here.
And we're so grateful to have you on the team.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Of course, so great to be able to hear from Dr. Shannon Curry. The booster there, though, on the pad. It is a moment we are still kind of taking in and processing. Ariane, you and I.
Buzzing.
Speechless, excited.
Speechless. I am trembling. My jaw is still on the desk here. An incredible day. The star there.
Right.
The second booster of New Glenn. The stars, more than 10,000 employees here at Blue Origin. If you guys aren't as in shock as I am, this team has done an incredible job.
Absolutely.
In the years, in the months leading up to this, in the minutes. There they are.
There's the team. That's Kent, Washington, our headquarters. Wall-to-wall people, by the way.
To see our launch control recycle like that, to see the team flip around the rocket from a valiant attempt on Sunday, dealing with solar weather that we haven't seen in years. Working closely with our customers, especially with NASA. Thank you for your patience.
And there's Huntsville, Alabama.
Just an incredible, the epitome of teamwork all the way along to this moment to see New Glenn land.
The odds.
Under 1 minute.
And if you didn't know,
GS2
that is what we have named this booster. It has been 10 years, as you said, Ariane, almost to the day.
Almost to the day.
Since we landed the New Shepard booster, and here we are in this incredible moment. And today, you and I talked about this earlier, today felt like the day. We walked in, and this was it.
It felt right. It felt right. I'll tell you, Tabitha, I was there for the New Shepard's first landing. And it was a much different. It was a much different Blue Origin. We had a couple hundred people. There were about a dozen or so of us off this back wooden porch with the radio, listening to launch control call the shots as we saw the New Shepard rocket come down a couple miles downrange with our naked eye.
Right.
And you lose New Shepard over the horizon, but you saw this billow of dust, and we heard touchdown, and it was this same roar, this elation. But today, as Eddie said, it feels so similar, but it also feels so different in the sense that
pressures look good.
Getting this rocket to space and to be able to reuse this booster is opening a new chapter for Blue Origin. It's opening a new chapter for the space industry. It's opening a new chapter for space as whole, as not just domestically but internationally, to have more rockets that can be reusable, to have competition on the market, to bring down the cost of accessing space so that our customers, whether it's NASA, whether it's our friends at Amazon Kuiper that have signed up, whether it's Viasat, we want to be able to share this with the world. And as our founder, Jeff Bezos, has said, you know, there's so many organizations that want to go up and access space and use those assets. And he, as an investor, he's seen so many companies that have come to him and said, well, that's nice, but all of these organizations die on the vine unless you can reduce the cost of accessing space. And by having another reusable orbital rocket to be able to do that is huge. I cannot wait to see what this rocket looks like when we bring her back into port in just a couple of days, bring her back to our integration facility and get a look at this beautiful rocket. What a day.
And as we take a look at GS2, right now we are approaching SECO 2, which is second engine cutoff.
And we have SECO. Good
SECO is confirmed. So we have a map for you on your screen, but soon we should be back and able to communicate with our ground stations, and we would have a picture for you. Right now, we are under 10 minutes until we're able to deploy Escapade. And if we do that, I mean, what a birthday gift to Dr. Nikki Fox.
Yes.
And two for two. Separation.
So far, I'm so glad we had a shot of our Huntsville, Alabama team. They have built beautiful engines, the 7 BE4 engines that performed so wonderfully on the first stage. And now, as we have heard, the 2 BE3U engines up in space had 2 clean burns, giving the Escapade satellites a wonderful ride to where they need to go, setting them up on their trajectory to make it to Mars.
And you know what? While we wait for this epic moment coming up with Escapade, let's send it back over to Eddie Seifert with our crew here at Rocket Park. Eddie, I know the celebrations have already started, but of course, the show isn't over. We are awaiting the deployment of Escapade. How are you feeling? How are they feeling?
All operating nominally.
Is everyone I know pretty excited about making mission number 1 check and mission number 2 coming up?
Tabitha, Ariane, I don't know where to start. First off, it was pandemonium here and just a feeling of utmost pride and gratitude that we got to witness that. I had to step back because the party's ongoing. I can see it with my eyes. It's just years of hard work. You know, there was chants while we were doing the last session, and it was next stop moon. This is the beginning. Today is day 1. You know, at Blue Origin we say gradatum ferociter. This was a ferocious step.
Yeah, that's to put it lightly, a ferocious step. I think I was screaming and banging on the desk. Ariane, you were almost in tears. I know this moment for all of us, and we are here on TV just representing, as you said, the more than 10,000 employees. We get to peek into Huntsville and to Kent and into Van Horn, but everywhere across this country, I think people are celebrating knowing that we've really made this big step that you've mentioned toward making space more accessible. And I know there's future generations watching right now. I know there's people from all around the world, as far as Brazil, watching right now. And those individuals have to know that we are setting up the future. That's the only way I know how to put it. We are setting up the future. Today was a monumental step for that.
Well, you see future generations. I actually got a photo from my husband who has my babies propped up and watching this. And I'll tell you, my 3-year-old, she just thinks that our rocket launches and lands.
Oh, yeah, that's all she's ever known.
That's all she has ever known. So to be able to show her this live,
now passing 30 minutes into flight.
I'm super proud of being part of this team. I always have, and today is an extraordinary highlight. Eddie, you've been here along with me for 11 years. How do you feel?
Well, no, congratulations. I mean, as you were talking about earlier, how we were sitting in the back porch of Mission Control in West Texas 10 years ago, almost to the day, and how far you've come. You know, your girls are looking at you. That's your rocket that landed today. That's all our rockets, but a special congratulations
our rocket.
to you.
That's right.
No, there's so many reflections that, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, you're right. You know, it's our rocket. It's such something that just brings our team together. I know we can't turn the camera around. I can't imagine why. But how are those celebrations still looking? How many people would you imagine are up there with you?
Well, we were 500 plus strong,
Passing
more or
31
less,
minutes.
throughout
Wow.
the whole party. And the
separation
energy
attitude,
never
body weight
abated through the
held out
first
nicely.
go-no-go pull
Seeing
for
good,
terminal count up to the first
control
20-second
on all
countdown.
GS260.
And in the recycle,
And right
the spirits
now-
were high.
Eddie, the spirits are high, and they're going to continue. I can't wait to talk
2
to you
minutes remaining
after this
spacecraft
webcast, give you a high five, but you're looking at a live look. This is Escapade in space, the twin spacecrafts that will be heading to Mars in 2027. For the first time ever, 2 spacecrafts at the same time are going to be studying the red planet. And also, for the first time ever, we're able to send this in kind of this in-between period. We didn't have to hit that exact Mars window because they're going to make their way to Mars on the right trajectory. And this is something completely unique for NASA and for us here at Blue Origin. Again, there's a live look at the Jacqueline, the booster. So aptly named, never tell me the odds, sitting so perfectly on that feather, unlike anything we've ever seen. And in the next minute here, you are going to see those payloads deploy. What a moment.
Hopefully we'll get that live shot again. We had what's called an ESPA ring that's on top of the payload adapter, and they are on the payload ring, the ESPA ring laterally. So first the blue satellite's going to deploy. 30 seconds later, the gold will deploy, and then we also have the Viasat tech demonstrator at 38 minutes into launch that will also turn on.
Yes, you can follow along right here on your screen. The telemetry there at the bottom. In the next 40 seconds, that is the moment where mission objective number 2 will hopefully be coming
Now
to
coming
fruition.
up on 33 minutes into flight. We're standing by for spacecraft 1 SEP shortly. Vehicle body rates are remaining stable, leading into the separation event. Standing by for spacecraft SEP. And we have good indication of Escapade Blue spacecraft
We do
separation.
have payload separation confirmed. Go Blue. Second payload coming up, as we mentioned. Just about a couple of seconds more here.
Standing by for spacecraft 2 SEP.
Oh, beautiful live shot from over 700 miles
gold
in
separation
space.
confirmed.
And gold has separated. Congratulations, Escapade. Both blue and gold have successfully deployed. We have successfully landed the booster, and we have successfully deployed both the blue and gold satellites for Escapade.
2 for 2. There goes our robotic vehicle that is securing the GS1 onto the Jacqueline.
That's right.
Absolutely spectacular. Escapade, you are headed to Mars. And so there you go, our automated robotic vehicle. To be very clear, we didn't clarify this earlier. There are no people on the Jacqueline right now. It's just that robotic vehicle that is going around the rocket, making sure that we definitely
We're safing the vehicle.
We're safing the vehicle and making sure that those landing legs are pegged down. The seas are nice and calm today. It was a rough ride the last couple of days out there. But of course, we want to make sure that our 200-foot tall rocket out there on the Jacqueline is nice and there it goes, is nice and stable. And shortly after, we will of course have the Harvey Stone, which is the boat that has our team out there. They will approach the Jacqueline, and we will put our team up there as well as soon. But as soon as the rocket is stable, we want to make sure, of course, that it's essentially neutralized. Make sure the propellants are nice and stable, if not completely purged from the system, as well as have a stable rocket out there. Safety is number one. But Tabitha, we are 2 for 2 on today's mission. NG2, a historic day for New Glenn and Blue Origin?
I keep telling you, I'm speechless, and I really am. It has been such an epic day. In about, goodness, couple of minutes here, also that Viasat demonstrator will turn on. That's an exciting thing. That's a payload kind of hitching a ride with our friends at NASA. And it's just been so great to work with so many customers and to also show the world that, hey, we're here. We're in the game. We have a reusable booster, and this is just the beginning.
No, and we said it on the last webcast. We've got NASA Escapade, but of course there are other organizations, UC Berkeley,
Right.
Advanced Space,
Rocket Labs
that have been part of that mission. But we've also got Viasat being one of the foremost satellite operators in the world. And these organizations took a chance on us.
They did.
We get it. It was a new rocket. It had not flown when we signed with them. This means a lot to us that you have put your technology, your babies in our hands on top of this rocket. You trusted our team. You trusted our method. We got you there. And we cannot wait to take our other signed customers as well as our other future to-be signed customers. We are open for business, baby. On New Glenn. A new day, a new chapter has just opened for, as we said, Blue Origin, but also the space industry.
Would you say a new era? Would you say a new era?
It's a new era.
This is it. It's a new era. And as we said, at the T plus about 38-minute mark, which is happening here in the next 20-ish seconds, that's when the Viasat demonstrator should be turning on. But not to worry, if we don't get an immediate signal, that is totally okay, because that just means it's not connecting to the ground system. They wait about another hour and then they try again. So some exciting stuff. And then just to know that we were a part of a payload going to Mars that we're going to be getting data from that is going to tell us so much more about the Red Planet. For us to send future humans to the Red Planet, how epic is that? Today was the first day in at least a 5-year mission.
Yeah, no, we're going to be soaking this in for another 5 years. The power of this mission. We're gonna feel it. It's not just something that's up and back.
30 seconds to CSP
I
turn
mean,
on.
it is something that's up and back. I take that back. Look at that rocket. That rocket is up and back. But the other objective, of course, are payloads with NASA Escapade. We'll be working hard for us and working hard for NASA.
Yeah, and right now, there you have it. There is New Glenn out on the Jacqueline, right in the middle of the feather. Our ROV is currently helping safe the vehicle. And I mentioned with you, I got to go out on the Jacqueline and they explain the operations. This is just step 1. Then they're going to be able to go and secure all of those landing legs. And then once everything is good to go, a crew can come right back on the Jacqueline and get ready to bring it back here to Cape Canaveral.
And I mentioned this.
Oh wait, I just heard CSP has powered on, Viasat has powered on, it has made connection. That's a bonus. That's 3 for 3.
3 for 3. A great day for our customers, and that is really, really important. And you see we've talked about our robotic vehicle that is down there.
Right.
We mentioned it at the beginning of the webcast. That landing pad is the same, has the same diameter, the landing zone, as New Shepard.
I know, New Shepard. And it's only 150 feet wide. So it's about 400 feet long, Jacqueline is, and 150 feet wide. I want you to imagine landing a skyscraper on something that is that size. Incredible. Oh, and then there you have it. There is, of course, we're continuing to monitor GS2, but now we know Escapade is deployed, Viasat is working. So with that, it has been an incredible, fantastic. I don't know if there's enough words for me to say about what this day means for everyone here at Blue.
And with that, they're getting ready to wrap up their live coverage. And first and foremost, congratulations, Blue Origin. You did it. You landed New Glenn on its second ever launch attempt. What an incredible, historic day. A second vehicle now launching and landing from Space Coast in Florida. Make sure you head over to our Discord or our X account, TLPN_official, for some incredible photography and videos coming soon from our rocket chasers, Gavin and Cameron, that were out there. We'll also be back there for the return of New Glenn 2. But for now, from our TLP Canada studio, my name's Zach, and we will see you later today for Atlas 5 or next time, because space is better together. Good night and congratulations, Blue Origin.